Hello there! We've been expecting you. We see you finally arrived. Welcome to the neighborhood.
Why, hello there, neighbors, and welcome to our little broadcast. Do be a dear and click that subscribe button immediately. It's the best way to ensure that while you're watching the screen isn't watching you. I am Mrs. Worthington, your devoted Homeowners Association president and personal guide to the finer things in the afterlife. Oh, excuse me, I meant the good life. I'll be here to narrate your stay, ensuring your lawns are manicured and your your dreams, are sweet.
We often say that a home is a reflection of its owner, a place where you can really see yourself. But at 77 Sunset Slip, the architecture takes the sentiment quite literally. Our dear Mrs. Beauregard, Clementine to her friends, though she hasn't made any yet, believes she was stripping away wallpaper. She believes she was removing the old to reveal the new. A common mistake. In the Happy Valley, you are never uncovering a fresh start. You're merely digging down to the trap door. The house has been waiting for someone with just the right amount of vanity. Someone who wants everything to be picture perfect. Let's watch as she makes her first and final incision.
"Now you listen here," I said to the wall, my voice echoing a little too sharply, like I was speaking inside a canning jar. "Andrew is a man of taste. He likes clean lines. He likes things simple. And you—" I tapped the wall with the handle of my scraper. "You are a mess of olive green monstrosity." I'd been working on the house all morning, and I couldn't shake the feeling that the house was watching me back. Not in a spooky way, mind you. Just attentive, like a dog waiting for a treat. Every time I polished the silver, it gleamed a little too brightly. Every time I Windexed a window, it seemed to lose the glass entirely, letting the air rush in unchecked. "Everything has to sparkle," I muttered, mostly to drown out the silence. "Sparkle and shine for my Andrew." I approached the master bedroom wall. The wallpaper was peeling slightly at the corner, curling like a dried leaf, or maybe beckoning. I jammed the scraper under the seam. I expected a rip. I expected dust. Instead, the paper slid away with a wet, heavy slurp. It didn't tear. It shed, like a snakeskin. "Well, aren't you just eager to leave?" I whispered. Underneath the olive green wasn't plaster. It was a layer of gray. But not paint gray. It was shifting, swirling gray, like static on a television set when the station goes off air. It hummed against my fingertips. "Damp," I diagnosed, wrinkling my nose. "Andrew will have a fit about the moisture. Best get this layer off, too." I hooked the scraper into the gray static. It felt cold. Freezing, actually. It came away in a single, heavy sheet, falling to the floor with a sound like shattering ice. And there it was. No drywall, no studs, no insulation, just glass. The entire wall was a seamless floor-to-ceiling pane of glass. "Well, I breathed, stepping back. "Would you look at that? They tiled the wall with a mirror. A bit narcissistic for the 60s, isn't it?" I moved closer to inspect my handiwork. The glass was flawless. It didn't have a single smudge. But as I looked at my reflection, I felt a prickle of unease crawl up my spine. My reflection was there, all right. Same blonde bouffant, same yellow apron, same scraper in hand. But the room behind her, the room in the reflection, it looked sharper than the room I was standing in. The colors were brighter. The lines were straighter. It looked more real. "Just the lighting," I told myself, forcing a chuckle. "You're tired, Clem. You've been inhaling adhesive fumes." I leaned in to pick a speck of remaining wallpaper off the glass surface. My nose was inches from the pane. My reflection leaned in too. But she didn't pick at the wallpaper. She stared right into my eyes. And then, impossible as it was, she winked. I froze. My heart hammered against my ribs. I wanted to pull away, to run out the door and wait for Andrew on the front lawn. But I couldn't look away. The vanity in me, the perfectionist, was locked onto that image. Why is she prettier than me? I thought, a sudden, jealous thought that didn't feel entirely like my own. Why is her skin smoother? Why is her apron cleaner? The reflection smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. It was a patient smile. And then, in the fog of my own breath on the cold glass, words began to form. Not on my side, but on hers. Written backwards, so I could read them. "Want to trade?" "No," I whispered. The writing changed. Too late. That's when I noticed that I couldn't feel the scraper in my hand anymore. I couldn't feel the floor beneath my feet. All I could feel was the pull. The visual gravity of that perfect glass world. I blinked. And the world tilted.
Have you ever noticed how silence has a sound? It's a high-pitched hum, like a television left on after the station has signed off. That is the sound of the world behind the glass. Poor Clementine has just blinked, and in the Happy Valley, a blink can last a lifetime.
The transition wasn't violent, it was nauseatingly smooth. One moment I was standing in a humid, dusty bedroom, smelling old glue and sweat. The next, the air was sucked out of the room. The humidity vanished, replaced by a crisp, sterile chill that smelled faintly of ammonia and lemon zest. My eyelids finished their blink and opened. I was still in the bedroom, but everything was wrong. The light was too bright, too harsh. The dust motes in the air were frozen in place like suspended diamonds. I tried to inhale, to gasp, but my chest wouldn't expand. I was encased in something harder than stone. I was encased in sight. I looked forward, or rather, my eyes were fixed forward, and I saw me. Standing on the other side of an invisible barrier was Clementine Beauregard. But she looked soft. Her edges were blurry. Her skin looked porous and damp. She was breathing heavily, her chest rising and falling in a rhythm I could see but not feel. "Oh my," the other Clementine said. Her voice didn't reach me through the air. It vibrated through the floorboards, a dull, muffled thudding against my feet. The thing wearing my face, reached up and touched her cheek. She smiled, and I saw a gold filling in her tooth that I had gotten fixed last year. She had my memories. She had my cavities. "It's so warm," she whispered, rubbing her arms. I'd forgotten how warm meat is. I tried to scream, get out of my body!" But my jaw wouldn't unhinge. My tongue was a heavy weight in my mouth. I couldn't move a finger. I couldn't twitch a muscle. I was a reflection. And reflections do not move unless the subject moves. The other Clementine stepped closer to the barrier. She narrowed her eyes, studying me. "You're a pretty thing, aren't you?" she cooed, tilting her head to the left. Instantly, my head snapped to the right. I was mirroring her. I had no choice. It was a physical compulsion, a puppet string yanking my spine. She giggled. It was a wet, nasty sound. "Dance for me, Clem." She waved her hand. I waved mine. She frowned. I frowned. She pressed her index finger against the glass. I felt the pressure right in the center of my forehead, not as a touch, but as a heaviness. A will dominating mine. She was the master. I was the copy. "I think I'm going to like it out here," she said, her breath fogging the glass on her side, the outside. "Andrew will never know the difference. In fact, I might treat him better. I won't nag him about the coasters." She stared at me. She wasn't looking away. She was enjoying the show too much. Her eyes, my eyes, were wide, unblinking, drinking in the sight of her own victory. I realized with a cold, crystalline dread that as long as she looked at me, I was paralyzed. I was furniture. I was decor. I needed her to look away. I needed to break the connection. But how? She was vain. She was obsessed with this new, tactile reality. She was staring at me like I was a prize in a case. "Make her stop," I screamed internally. "Make her eyes close." I focused every ounce of my will, every silent scream trapped in my glass throat onto the surface between us. I couldn't speak. I couldn't wave. But I was part of the house now. I was part of the architecture. And the house was damp. I tried to shout, "Don't look at me." But the intent twisted as it passed through the barrier. It became a challenge, a dare, a psychological trap for a woman who was, at her core, just as stubborn as I was. My silent scream hit the cold glass from the inside. Whoosh! A patch of white fog materialized on the surface, right at eye level. The other Clementine blinked in surprise, stepping back just an inch. The condensation swirled, forming jagged, dripping letters. "Don't blink." The other Clementine read it, her brow furrowed. "Don't blink," she whispered. She looked at me. I stared back, my eyes fixed, my expression frozen in a mask of intensity. "Is that a challenge, Sugar?" she sneered. "You think you can outstare me? I'm the real one now." She widened her eyes. She locked her gaze onto mine. She refused to blink. Good, I thought, feeling the static electricity of the glass world buzzing against my skin. Keep looking. Keep staring. Let it burn.
Vanity is a powerful motivator, isn't it? But biology is a tyrant, and no matter whose body you're wearing, eyeballs need moisture. Let's see who breaks first.
The staring contest lasted an eternity. In reality, it was perhaps 45 seconds. I watched, forced to watch, as the other Clementine's confidence began to waver. The whites of her eyes, initially clear and triumphant, started to pinken. Little red veins webbed across the sclera. I, of course, felt nothing. My eyes were glass beads. I didn't need to blink. I could stare until the sun burned out. She twitched, a tiny spasm in her lower lid. "Hold it," I urged her silently. "Prove you're the strong one. Prove you deserve to be out there." A tear pooled in the corner of her left eye. It spilled over, tracking through the dust on her cheek. "It stings," she whimpered, her voice tight. "Why does it sting?" She tried to fight it. She flared her nostrils, gripping the hem of her apron. But the human reflex was undeniable. Her eyes were drying out. The burning was becoming unbearable. Another tear fell, then a flood. Her vision was blurring. I could see her pupils dilating, losing focus. "I can't," she gasped. "I can't." She squeezed her eyes shut with a forceful, desperate grimace, throwing her hands up to rub at the burning sockets. She turned her head away, stumbling back towards the bed. Snap. The invisible string cut. The paralysis vanished instantly. I gasped, a soundless, rushing intake of the sterile air. I stumbled back, my limbs suddenly my own again. I didn't waste a heartbeat. I didn't wait to see if she would look back. I threw myself to the floor, scrambling on hands and knees behind the large velvet armchair in the corner of my glass prison. I curled into a ball, tucking my head down, pressing myself into the darkest shadow I could find. Silence. I waited. My heart, or whatever pumped through me now, was thundering in my ears. From the other side I heard a sniffle, then a sigh. "Lord have mercy," the other Clementine muttered. "Dry air, must be the dry air." I heard footsteps approaching the wall. I held my breath. If she saw me, if she saw even a flash of my apron, I would be frozen again. I would be dragged back into the lockstep dance. "Hello?" she called out. She tapped on the glass. Tap, tap, tap. I squeezed my eyes shut, refusing to look up, refusing to be seen. "Well, that's peculiar," she murmured. "Where did I go?" She stayed there for a long moment, her breath likely fogging the glass again. But she saw only the empty room behind the glass. She saw the chair. She saw the bed. She didn't see me. "I must be disappearing," she laughed, a shaky, nervous sound. "Fading away like an old photograph. Well, good riddance. Too much clutter in here anyway." I heard her turn. I heard her footsteps retreat. I heard the bedroom door open and close with a solid click. Slowly, carefully, I uncurled. I peeked over the top of the armchair. The view through the glass wall was empty. The bedroom on the other side was vacant. I stood up. I smoothed my apron. I looked around my new domain. It was exactly like my bedroom, but pristine. Dust never settled here. The light was always flattering. It was a perfect, preserved diorama of the life I had wanted, and I was the doll inside it. I walked over to the glass wall and placed my hand against it. It was cool. "Andrew will be here on Friday," I whispered to the silence. "He'll walk into that room. He'll look in the mirror to straighten his tie." A small, sad smile touched my lips. "And when he does, I'll be right here, waiting to catch his eye."
And there you have it, neighbors, a happy ending of a sort. Miss Beauregard got exactly what she wanted, a spotless home, eternal youth, and a life free from the messiness of the outside world. She is the ultimate homemaker now. She is the home. As for the woman currently making a sandwich in Clementine's kitchen, well, we'll see how long she lasts before the pipes start whispering to her, too. So tonight, before you turn off the lights, take a good long look in your mirror, smile at yourself, and if your reflection blinks, don't blink back. This is Mr. Worthington, wishing you a pleasant evening in the unhappy valley. Do mind the gap.